The wind howled through the jagged peaks. Cold, sharp, it bit at every exposed inch of skin. Evelyn clutched her backpack tighter. The path was narrow, carved into the side of the mountain. Rocks jutted out like broken teeth. Every step echoed with a dangerous emptiness. She spotted a flash of red caught on a thorny branch. A scarf, vivid and striking against the gray stone. It fluttered in the wind as though alive. Evelyn hesitated, a shiver running down her spine. The air smelled damp, earthy, and slightly metallic. Her heart thudded loudly in her ears. She reached for the scarf. The moment her fingers touched the fabric, a chill surged up her arm. The wind seemed to shift. Shadows stretched across the rocks like dark fingers. A low, almost imperceptible whisper brushed against her ear. Evelyn spun around, eyes wide, but the path was empty. The mountain grew quieter, unnaturally silent. The mist thickened, curling around the rocks. She could not see more than a few steps ahead. The scarf twitched in her hand. Her pulse raced as if the mountain itself was watching her. Then, a sound, soft, deliberate footsteps behind her. She froze. The crunch of gravel on stone matched her heartbeat. Evelyn dared not look, afraid of what she might find. The scarf burned against her palm, as though insisting she pay attention. Her breathing grew rapid, shallow. A shadow moved in the fog. It was tall, unnervingly still. The scarf slipped from her grasp and fluttered to the ground. A cold laugh echoed through the mist. Evelyn stumbled backward, tripping over a rock. The footsteps stopped. Silence returned, heavier than before. The scarf lay at the edge of the cliff, red against the gray stone. Evelyn stared, frozen. Then a hand appeared from the fog, reaching for the scarf. It was pale, unnaturally long, and impossible to ignore. Her stomach twisted in fear, every nerve screaming. Evelyn's eyes widened in disbelief. The hand hovered over the red scarf. Every instinct screamed for her to run. Yet her legs refused to move. The fog thickened, curling around her like grasping fingers. It muffled the sound of the distant wind. The mountain's usual roar felt muted, sinister. The hand touched the scarf. A sudden, electric chill shot through Evelyn's body. Her teeth chattered uncontrollably. The shadow shifted, revealing a figure cloaked in darkness. Its face was obscured, but the shape was human, impossibly tall. The scarf wrapped around the figure's wrist, a ribbon of living crimson. Evelyn backed away. Her boots scraped against the jagged rocks. A sharp edge cut into her ankle. Pain flared, but she hardly noticed it. All attention focused on the figure. It moved with a gliding motion, eerily smooth. Each step made no sound. The fog swirled violently. The figure advanced, hand extended. Evelyn's breath came in rapid gasps. The mountain seemed to close in around her. The wind screamed in her ears, drowning out her thoughts. She tried to look for another path, any escape, but the cliff edge was near. Below, the rocks dropped sharply into a void she could not see. The scarf jerked suddenly, snapping like it had a mind of its own. It twined around the figure's arm, glowing faintly red. Evelyn felt a tug at her heart. It was as if the scarf called to her. Her chest tightened, a mixture of fear and fascination. The figure's head tilted slightly. She could not see its face, yet a sense of recognition passed through her mind, cold and alien. The shadow stepped closer, closer than any human could. Evelyn stumbled backward, nearly falling over the cliff. Her hands clawed at the rocky surface, fingers scraping skin and stone alike. The wind tore at her hair and clothes. It was no longer just cold, it was bone-piercing. The mountain itself felt alive, moving beneath her feet. Then, the whispering began again. Not a single voice, but many. Soft, distant, yet unmistakable. It spoke her name. Evelyn's pulse thundered. Her mind screamed for reason, but the whispers burrowed into her skull. They urged her forward, toward the figure. Every nerve in her body fought back. A flash of memory hit her. Years ago, in her grandmother's attic, a red scarf hung on a hook. It smelled faintly of winter frost and iron. Her grandmother had warned her never to touch it, saying it was not of this world. She had laughed at the memory, dismissed it as a childhood story. Now the memory came alive, tinged with terror. The shadow reached out. Its hand was impossibly cold. Evelyn flinched but felt compelled to move forward. Her legs carried her almost on their own. Each step felt like sinking into ice water. The cliff's edge was terrifyingly close. She could see the abyss yawning below, dark and endless. Suddenly, the scarf lifted from the figure's wrist. It hovered in the air between them, a brilliant red against the gray fog. It twisted and turned, as if alive. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. Evelyn felt herself drawn toward it. Her hands reached out almost involuntarily. Then everything changed. The figure stepped aside, or vanished. The scarf dropped to the ground with a soft thud. Evelyn bent down to pick it up. The instant her fingers touched the fabric, a searing pain shot through her mind. Visions flashed. A dark mountain, long shadows, screaming voices, and a single, endless red ribbon. Her knees buckled. She fell forward onto the rocky ground. When she opened her eyes, the world had shifted. The fog was denser now, almost alive. The wind carried whispers of anger, of sorrow, of warnings. She could barely see her own hands in front of her face. The red scarf lay across her lap, vibrating with an energy that made the hairs on her neck stand on end. Evelyn could feel a presence behind her. She dared not turn. The air was thick, almost solid. Every breath was a struggle. A shadow passed over her, and the temperature dropped sharply. Her teeth rattled in her skull. The whispers became a chant, a rhythm she could not escape. It spoke of the mountain, of those lost to it, of a debt that must be paid. Evelyn tried to stand. Her legs trembled violently. The scarf tugged at her hands. It seemed to coil around her wrists, binding her without pain, yet impossible to resist. She felt herself being pulled forward, toward the cliff, towards something unseen. Panic gripped her chest. Every instinct screamed to run, yet she could not. A single figure emerged from the fog. Not the shadow from before, but something taller, more horrifying. Its eyes glowed faintly red. Its mouth moved, but no sound came out. It reached out with hands long and skeletal. The scarf pulsed with each step it took. Evelyn's heart threatened to burst from her chest. The mountain seemed to tilt beneath her feet. Rocks shifted as if the earth itself was alive. The fog swirled violently, forming faces that screamed silently. The figure stopped at the edge of the cliff. The scarf's pull intensified. Evelyn struggled, but it was useless. She felt herself lifted, carried by an unseen force. The cliff stretched downward, dark and infinite. A sudden, deafening crack split the air. The ground beneath her feet shook violently. The red scarf snapped taut, burning against her skin. The figure leaned forward, impossibly close. Evelyn felt herself falling, yet not falling. Time slowed. The whispers reached a crescendo, an overwhelming roar in her mind. And then, silence. The fog parted slightly. Evelyn was alone. The scarf lay on the ground, motionless. The wind had stopped. The cliff looked calm, harmless, almost serene. She trembled uncontrollably, clutching the scarf. Her mind reeled with the memory of the figure, the whispers, and the pull of the mountain. For a moment, she wondered if it had all been real. Then the scarf shifted in her hands. A small, deliberate movement. Evelyn froze. The wind whispered again, soft and chilling. She knew the mountain was not finished with her. The red scarf pulsed, as if alive, as if waiting. Her adventure was far from over. Evelyn took a shuddering breath. The wind was still, the mountain eerily calm. The red scarf rested in her hands, heavy and warm, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. She stared at it, uncertain whether to drop it or hold on. The cliff edge loomed silently. Far below, shadows of the valley stretched into darkness. Every instinct screamed to leave, to run back down the mountain. Her legs obeyed, carrying her carefully along the narrow path. Each step was cautious, deliberate, but her heart still raced. She glanced back once. The fog had thinned, revealing the shape of the peak behind her. No figure, no shadow, nothing but empty stone and swirling clouds. Yet a sense lingered, a quiet, pressing presence. Evelyn realized she could never fully understand what had reached for her. Some things belonged to the mountain, not to the world below. The path led to a small outcrop of sunlit rocks. She knelt there, clutching the scarf. It no longer tugged or pulsed with urgency. Its red hue was brilliant against the gray stone, a vivid reminder of what had passed. Evelyn closed her eyes and let the warmth of the sun reach her chilled skin. her mind replayed the whispers, the pull, the figure at the cliff. Fear still lingered, but it was tempered with awe. The mountain had tested her, shown her something beyond the ordinary. The scarf was a token, a fragment of a mystery she might never solve. And perhaps that was how it should be. Evelyn rose slowly. She tucked the scarf carefully into her backpack. Not as a prize, not as a weapon, but as a memory of the mountain's secret. The wind rose again, gentle now, brushing her face like a soft exhale. The fog dissolved behind her as she descended, step by careful step. She never looked back. The mountain remained silent, indifferent, guarding its mysteries. The red scarf remained with her, a reminder that adventure carries danger, wonder, and the unknown. And somewhere in the mist, the mountain waited. Waiting for the next traveler, the next story, the next whisper of red. Evelyn walked on, heart steadying, mind alive with both fear and wonder. The mountain had changed her. She would carry its memory forever.